and welcome to the Inbetween podcast. I'm your host, Jessica, and I'm joined here by Tony Tones@RT. How are you, Tony?
Hello, I'm doing well. It doesn't feel like summer anymore, but still kind of
It's literally like 30 degrees like a couple of days ago.
Oh, it's not where I am.
Oh, okay. Well, it was.
It rained a lot today. I would agree.
There was a thunderstorm
Monday
today,
was
but it was
bloody
still
hot.
very warm.
Really?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
But
Yeah, it's summer. It's just very, very recent weather update.
This week we're going to be talking about the one of the 3 Jeff Fests from this. It feels like Jeff Keighley does every game event at this point. He does Gamescom, he does the Game Awards, and he does Summer Jeff Fest. So we're going to be
get all the advertising.
Yeah, we're going to talk about some of the Gamescom stuff. We're going to be talking about Kirby's Star Rider, where Sakurai sat down and spoke about that for 45 minutes. And then, of course, I will be talking about all the games and stuff I've been, films and anime and stuff I've been watching and enjoying over the past, I think it's been like 3.5 weeks or something like that.
Yeah. It's at least 3.
Because you've been very busy at the minute, so
yeah, very busy or just tired. I think it's what I found.
But yeah, so Tony, the past couple of weeks I have 100% completed Donkey Kong Bonanza, so I'm done with the dong. I think I got up to like 60 hours or something playing the game.
Really?
Yeah, I have 100% completed the game.
I saw Stephanie Selling call the game Red Faction Gorilla.
I think literally everyone has made that. I also had that thought, and I was like, haha, I'm the first person to make this joke. And then I saw online, I was like, no, literally everyone in the world has made this joke.
Yeah. That makes sense. Because it's a stretched terrain, right? And Red Faction Gorilla had stretchable buildings. So.
Yeah, it's interesting to see Nintendo trying something new. I feel like they've been trying a lot of new stuff, because I've also been playing Drag X Drive, which feels like the most un-Nintendo thing ever. It is just very like experimental, like low stakes, very mechanically driven game, rather than like a polished, very thought out experience sort of thing. I've also played the new Mario Party Jamboree TV upgrade pack. So I have played the Nintendo Switch 2 edition of Jamboree TV, and I've played it. I've plugged so I bought it around a friend's house because he was having a barbecue, and I bought my Logitech camera, which I'm streaming with right now, with me. So we played the new camera mode things. I was like jumping up and down and punching a question mark block. I got to be honest, it's pretty much just an iToy at this point, like that game mode.
Right.
It is just, you know, like the iToy from the PlayStation was like, when I'm cleaning Windows, it felt very much like that. And then surprising, because I was like, okay, we're playing Jamboree TV. Because at one point it's like, because it uses the microphone and the camera as well. But I'm getting to that point where I'm getting like quite old, and one of my friends has a child that was sleeping when we were playing. It's like the game's trying to make us shout for this Bowser Party game, and I'm like, I can't shout right now, sort of thing. But yeah, there was another thing where you could use both. I actually have my Joy-Cons here because I was playing Drag X Drive like last week. You can use there is game mode specifically for the mouse controls, but I wouldn't be able to play with 4 people because I have 2 Joy-Cons, and I don't know if you know this, but getting another set of Joy-Cons is abhorrently expensive for the Nintendo Switch 2. It's like 60-70 pounds for a set of Joy-Cons.
Man. They're not. I don't understand that. They're not that. I don't know. I just feel they're not that good. But I guess it's the elements that would make it like understandably so, because they've got 2 elements.
But one thing
when you buy it, do you get like do you get the thing that like combines it together, or do you literally just get
you get
2 sides and nothing else? Okay.
That comes with the console. So it is basically, it's a piece of plastic. They sell a separate accessory that has a battery inside it and charges the Joy-Cons while you use it, but you have to buy that separately. This is just basically This is essentially just... This is a piece of plastic and some magnets, because as we know from Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, there is no magnets in the Joy-Cons. They just have pieces of steel, which is heavier than feathers, which is why it magnetically connects to the magnets in this.
The price makes no sense.
One thing I found surprisingly fun was because I was showing my friends Mario Kart, but I still had the webcam plugged in. And when we were driving around in Mario Kart, you could set it up so it just showed your face over the karts. So I'd like, and that was surprisingly really fun. I was like, I
can see that.
I didn't think about this, but like, I would see my friend like Charlie or Pip, and I would be like, okay, I'm playing battle mode, and they drove past me, and I could see their face, and I'm just like, I have to take them out with some red shells, you know.
Sure, if you hit them as well and make a funny face, that'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be it. So at one point,
like
playing as Waluigi.
One point, because we figured out you could like zoom in and out with the camera. So at one point, we just like at one point, all I could see was Pip's eye as like his like webcam, and it was just like his eye driving around.
The eye of Pip.
But yeah, it was surprising that the Mario Kart with cameras was actually was like really fun.
Yeah.
I thought the Super Mario Party Jamboree stuff was fine. I don't know if I think it was like a good upgrade, because essentially the upgrade, like graphics and stuff, is like a separate game mode that's separate from the actual the main game. So the main game's still like the old graphics and the old games, and you have to go to the Jamboree TV section to play the new stuff. Which I was kind of like, couldn't they have just mixed this again? And then like, some modes you can only play in the base game, and then some of the new modes you can only play in Jamboree TV. I thought the way they did it was really convoluted, and I wasn't a big fan of it. But I don't know. Yeah. It was okay. That's kind of my thoughts on it.
It was okay. Yeah.
Drag X Drive. This has been getting like middling reviews, which is kind of expect. I mean, it costs like £15, so it wasn't too expensive, but it feels like a very bare bones game. It is very much just like we designed this like double Joy-Con like mouse mode.
Yeah, it's like
skating mechanic
for this mouse mode for a Joy-Con, and that was it. We
are not supporting this more than it's just like there is single player missions you can, because I was streaming this to you, right, and you saw me play it for a bit.
Yeah.
You can play it for You can. I was playing online mostly, which my favorite thing to do on the online was when you won a match, you would get a ring on your finger, and I would just show off my ring to everybody, I'm a baller, I got a ring. You know, I liked the gesture stuff you could do.
Yeah, that was cool.
But the thing with the game was, it felt like it was one of those games where the more I played it and the more I got into it, the more I was getting way better at it. But it felt like every time I wanted to sit down and play it, I had to commit a bunch of time in order to get like okay at the game, where it's not a very big like pick up and play sort of game, I would say, which is kind of a shame, because it is very much like a 3v3 party game. Like a game like Rocket League, you can just pick up a controller and play Rocket League, whereas I feel like the learning curve of even learning the game, but even learning the game again by picking it up again, is really high. So it's a shame. And also there's no alternative controls, because they released that ARMS game for the Switch 1, right? Which I haven't played yet.
For ARMS. Yeah.
But they eventually down the line, they were like, look, we know people get, because they made it into like this interesting like fighting game, and they actually like had a stylized look to that. Whereas with Drag X Drive, it's just like faceless robots driving around in like a small arena. But eventually down the line, they were like, okay, in ARMS, we're just going to let you use a Pro Controller or Joy-Con. Like, you don't have to use the Joy-Con motion controls. We'll just let you use a Pro Controller instead. So I can see maybe later down the line them being like, okay, maybe if people want to play more Drag X Drive, we might just make some traditional controls for it. But I don't see people going out of their way to, like, clear out space on, like, a desk or their legs in order to do, like, the mechanic. Like, it was fun for, like, half an hour or an hour or something, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of tired of this, and then I'm going to go off and do something else. I might go back on and do some of the single player missions, but a lot of the single player missions were pretty hard, at least from what I played of them. They seem to be like, like developer level missions where they're like, I've played Drag X Drive for like, 10 hours and I know all the mechanics sort of thing. and I'm very good at the game. Whereas like as a newcomer, they felt very like cutthroat and quick. I've also played the Battlefield 6 beta. I initially wasn't too interested in it, but a lot of the stuff I saw coming out of it, I was like, oh, okay, it actually looks like they're kind of going back to more their roots when it comes to Battlefield 6. I can pull up. I did record some gameplay footage, which I can pull up here because I don't think I plan on doing like a tangerine on Battlefield 6.
How long has it been since the Battlefield previous? I can't
Battlefield 2042.
Right.
That came out in 2023, I want to say.
Really? Okay. Just no one cared about it. Maybe I don't know.
I can double check. We have the internet.
Yeah.
2042. It came out in 2021. Holy shit! Okay, this game came out a while ago. I feel like it came out the other day. But no, it has been like 5 years since the last, or almost 5 years since the last Battlefield game came out. Because the last Battlefield game I played was Battlefield 5, and that was the one before Battlefield 2042. And I really liked that game. I thought it got like a unfair shake because one, it had performance issues because it was pushing ray tracing. And then two,
I thought it looked pretty cool.
And then two, it was this whole like culture war where people were like, there was a woman who had like a bionicle arm, and then also the CEO was like, if you don't like the game, don't buy it, and then people didn't buy it.
Yeah, I do feel it did feel like to me it's like they didn't bother trying to put like diverse characters in the correct historical context. Like that kind of felt like just it's
like for me personally, when I'm playing a Battlefield game, I don't care about the history stuff. I'm just like whatever. Like Battlefield regularly.
Play the single player?
No, I don't play the single player. I only play the multiplayer stuff. I think the only Battlefield single player I've ever played that's had one, I think Battlefield 3 had one, and I played it for like an hour maybe, and I was like, I'm just going to go back to the multiplayer stuff, because I think that's where Battlefield really shines. I felt like, from the Battlefield 6 beta, it felt like it was very like fast-paced, and very like closed off. It felt like you were pushed into corridor. The maps felt very small, and I think that was intentional for the beta. I think the idea was they just wanted to get people into the action constantly, so they made all of the beta maps be like the smallest tight corridor ones.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Whereas like the full game will have like these big, vast open maps, which I don't mind, because some of my favorite maps, like in Battlefield 5, I loved Rotterdam, because you had these like really tight, close quarter buildings, sort of similar to this, and also you had like these gorgeous like reflections with the ray tracing on like the water and the windows and stuff.
That's my thing. I think
and then like in Battlefield 3, Operation Metro, I was a big fan of, where you were just running through this metro station, very like closed off, very like close range sort of stuff. One of my favorite things to do in Battlefield 3 was I would pick the engineer class, because they had the ability to drive like this remote controlled repair bot that had like the what's it called, the blowtorch on the robot, and you would drive it, and you'd be able to repair tanks at a distance. But I would try and drive it past all of the enemies in Operation Metro, and then try and find the snipers who were all prone at the back, and then I would just blowtorch them to death with this remote robot, which I found very funny. But that's the stupid stuff I like doing in Battlefield, right? Yeah. But I found myself, because I think like the actual class system in this game was pretty good. It felt like every class had its own individual role. And I found myself gravitating, because that was one of the really cool things about Battlefield 5 for me, was when you queued up with a couple of friends as a squad and you all played a different role, it felt like you all had something to bring to the team, where like as the recon, you had the spawn beacon, you could spot people, you could snipe. Then you had like the medic who can like quickly res people and heal them, and then you had like the support, which could give you like ammo and had the big LMGs, and then you had the engineer who could repair buildings. And it feels like that sort of stuff is back for this game, which I like. I found myself playing engineer a lot in this beta, because I felt like I liked the armor piercing of the engineer, because each class has like a perk, and I think you can change them by leveling them up. But I like the armor piercing, and I like the fact that I could still play more like an assault style where I was mostly using like an SMG and just moving from building quickly and playing like a close range play style. But then when a tank came along, I could, get out my RPG and attack the tank, or I could repair a friendly tank, right?
Okay. So there's like good. Okay, yeah, makes sense.
The game runs really. So it seems like they've pretty much ditched all ray tracing stuff for this one. They're gone, okay, we're just going to make the game run really well. So the game runs really good. And as well, I had to turn secure boot on my PC. I don't know if you saw about this.
Oh, yeah, I did see that.
This game requires you to have secure boot on your PC for the anti-cheat.
Yeah. Apparently there's already workarounds for this already.
Right.
It's just kind of hilarious. It's just annoying people legitimately.
Like for me, I already have a CPU with a TPM, and I don't like dual boot Linux or anything, so I was like, okay, I don't really have an issue with turning secure boot on, so I just turned it on.
Yeah. There are people with it. I think the way I've set up my PC, that'd actually be a problem for me.
Right.
It might not be. Like something that I thought,
Tony, another awesome thing. So Battlefield 3 fucking sucked because the way you joined maps was you had to go to an external website. You would use that website in order to like join missions, and then that would load you into the game. It was fucking awful. And then they made the Origin launcher, so you would have to play like there wasn't even a Steam version of the game. You'd have to go through Origin, which was sucked. But with this game, there's no Origin, there's no EA launcher. It launches directly from Steam, and you play it on Steam. They've got rid of the EA launcher for this, which is nice.
I'm hoping they've just forgotten to like upkeep the Origin server, so no one can make anything for it again.
Oh, that was something that people were kind of. There's no dedicated servers for this game either, which people were annoyed by. Yeah, it's not
coming later though.
No, I don't know. I don't think they've got it planned at all. Now, I will say, like,
sometimes it takes time to package that up.
When I played Battlefield 3 dedicated server stuff, I did actually. They would do stuff like 128 versus 128, or like 64 versus 64. Operation Metro, everyone had explosives, and that was just absolute chaos. And that was pretty fun, like as a dedicated custom server thing. So I would like stuff like that. But for the most part, when I'm playing Battlefield, like from Battlefield 5 onwards, I'm used to just like quick play stuff. So I'll just say, I want to play this game mode, just queue me up and put me in a random lobby, right? And I think that's kind of where the direction of multiplayer is going. People are not forming like relationships with servers. They're more just like, put me in a game now. It's a live service.
That's because servers don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know if a trend can be. I don't know. I feel like but I also feel like
don't get me wrong, Tony. I come from the generation of joining dedicated. Like I literally was in a Counter-Strike clan called Friendly People. We were called FP Gaming Friendly People, and I would go and I would join the same server every single day, like 10, 15 years ago, and that was really cool. But if you ask me that now, I'm just like, I don't want to fucking talk to anybody. I just want to queue up a game and just play with random people. I don't know. I feel like
I just feel like it shouldn't be a choice.
Games have changed, but I feel like as I've become an older gamer, I've changed as well. So
sure. But I just feel like something like even just like a local. I know like maybe this is like the wrong game for it, but like in other games, it's like I just want like a party of just like, we just want to host our weird modded thing ourselves that are two PCs playing it locally. I feel like when you have dedicated servers, it just means like it to be run like 10 years down the line, someone's gonna have something tomorrow.
Like
the publisher.
I feel like
it's not a choice. Like it should be both, but it should be like quick play and dedicated server. Like it should be kind of just like an integrated thing.
Yeah. But I think the Battlefield 6 was pretty fun. It just felt like more Battlefield. Like if you've played a Battlefield game before, it will be more Battlefield in a modern environment. It felt good to play. It run well. But there was nothing about this that was like, I have to buy the new Battlefield game. It's just like...
Yeah, there's nothing like special about it.
No, it was just, it's Battlefield.
Really cool. Yeah.
But I kind of felt the same way when I played Call of Duty again. I was like, yep, It's still Call of Duty. There's nothing like I'm like I have to play this, right?
Or like modern shooters at least. Yeah.
But yeah. So I've been playing not Black Ops, Battlefield. I was getting confused saying Call of Duty.
Wait, is it Battlefield 6? Is it actually called?
It's called Battlefield 6. This one.
Okay, there's no like fancy title alongside with that. It's just 6.
Just Battlefield 6.
Just 6. Okay.
2042 didn't exist. This is the next Battlefield.
I'm not gonna have any time to answer this. Like, I just like, what was the Battlefield that you had the destructible skyscraper? That was like the coolest. That was the coolest thing to me, just watching it.
Wasn't that Battlefield 4?
Is that 4? Is that one people didn't like?
No, people liked Battlefield 4.
Okay. I want more stuff like that.
Was it in Battlefield 2042? It might have been in Battlefield 4. How to bring down the skyscraper? Yeah. Okay. The Siege of Shanghai from Battlefield 4.
Yeah. I thought it was really cool. Is there stuff like that still? They didn't remove.
There's building defamation stuff, but I didn't see any because again the maps in the beta were really small.
There's no like dynamically changing, but like objective changing map destruction, I should say.
I don't know, like one thing I did want to mention.
Really cool.
When it comes to like interesting multiplayer games with their building destructions, the Finals was one I played in the past couple of years. Where I was like, oh yeah, this game has really good building destruction. So I feel like because I think they're ex-Battlefield devs who worked on the Finals.
Right.
So that was
interesting.
Yeah, interesting that there's another multiplayer game with interesting. It's not just a Battlefield thing anymore. It's interesting. We have because Battlefield and Donkey Kong Bonanza both are coming back to these terrain destruction mechanics, which we don't really see in games too much anymore, right? They're more focused on just pushing graphics, whereas we've kind of forgotten about physics engines.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do wish we went back to that a little bit. We're just like pushing I think mainly we're pushing like reflections. Like that's like the biggest thing we're trying to push.
Then next up, Tony,
just mirror reflections.
I'm going to talk about Overwatch 2 again quickly. There's a brand new support hero for Overwatch 2. He came out as like a small beta for like a couple of days in the preseason, so I have played him quite a lot.
Okay.
And Season 18 is out now. And with Season 18, there's a bunch of new... So you know the perk system that I was telling you about last time?
I vaguely know about the perks. Like, I don't quite know how it works, but...
So the perk system, basically, as you're playing the game, you level up. And when you get a level, you get a minor perk and a major perk, which completely changes your character to some extent as like a permanent upgrade. And I've found it really interesting to be like, okay, I'm playing against this character. I kind of want like a double dash here, or I don't need the movement speed. Let me get more damage with this perk instead, right? And they had I think they had the same perks for the longest time, and it really changed up the game. But with this Season 18, they've gone, okay, we're going to completely change all of the perks now. So they've put in like brand new perks. They've removed some perks, which has been really interesting. Speaking of Wu Chang's really cool because you have the ability to control your shot after you send it flying. So it's like a projectile water ball that you throw into the air. But then if you hold down the mouse button and you move your mouse, you like water bend this water ball. Cool. So you can like, say for example, you have like a Hanzo on your team who has like a sonic arrow and he's showing you where the enemy is behind a wall. You can like bend it like Beckham, a water attack round a wall and hit them from afar without you ever being able to see them. He is like playing Wu Chang. I'm like, yeah, this is a DPS ass support. Like this is for DPS. Like playing certain supports like Kiriko, Baptiste. These feel like or Moira to an extent. They feel like supports designed for DPS players. And playing Wu Chang, I was like, yeah, this is a support designed for DPS players. It felt like. Which I found really fun to play. But yeah, the new season's really cool. I've still never played Stadium. They still have this new Stadium thing, which is like third person, looks kind of like Marvel Rivals. And you can like buy items and stuff, and they've just made quick play for it for season 18. So I should check it out at some point. But honestly, just going back and playing 5v5 with the perks is enough for me to be like, this feels like an entirely new game. Also, Tony, I'm trying so hard not to spend money in Overwatch because they've just brought back the Cowboy Bebop skins in the shop for this season. And during this season, they're going to do another collab with Persona 5. And I'm like, for God's sake, I will not spend money on Overwatch. Because I showed you, I had a bunch of currency that I got for free, and I bought, because they did a collab with Nerf, and you can get Nerf guns inside Overwatch. And I love the Nerf. And I have a Nerf bow and arrow for Hanzo that I use. It just goes funk, 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 which I find really satisfying to shoot with. But yeah, it's pretty cool. And finally, Tony, in games, I've been playing a little bit of Rusty's Retirement, which is a idle farming simulator that sits at the bottom of your screen. So I heard about this because it popped up in my newsfeed saying, hey, we're doing a collab with Balatro. And I was like, well, if you're doing a collab with Balatro, that immediately gets me interested because Balatro is an awesome game. And they usually pick like interesting indie games to do collabs with. But I don't know if you remember, I played a Steam Next Fest demo from ages ago called Haiku the Robot, which is a really cool little Metroidvania game. It's made by the same developer as that. But yeah, I've basically been playing this, and I've been so like when I'm watching something, doing like a watch party, or I mostly was playing a bit of Hearthstone, and when I was waiting between my turns, I would do stuff on the farm. But basically, you grow crops, and then you combine different crops to unlock new recipes, and then the new recipes get you better crops, and these better crops that you earn more gold. And then you have to put 3 different crops together in order to turn into biofuel, and then you use this biofuel as a secondary resource to power your machines. So you start like automating your farm, so you can build like little robots that water your plants, you can build robots that harvest your plants, you can build robots that there's planting, there's that plants, I think it's wants to plant seeds, but it's like there's a certain amount of space, and it's very much like, almost like a Satisfactory effect. It's not it's nowhere near as in depth as like a Satisfactory Factorio, but it's like a very simple version of that sort of thing. And you have to think about this stuff because your bots will require energy, so you need to make sure you're generating enough energy to power your bots in order to automate your farm, sort of thing. I found it really confusing at first because there is basically no tutorial for this game. It very much just goes, here's the game, and I had to like figure it out myself, which I would prefer like a more like in-depth tutorial on how to play because I was very confused in the beginning.
I think it should at least be like what what is this question mark?
But yeah, there's also like multiple farms you can start, and there's like the Balatro mode makes it so like, I think the Balatro mode makes it that when you turn a plant in, you like randomly draw cards to see how much money you get or something like that. There's like different mechanics. There's also a Vampire Survivors crossover where you grow garlic and have to use it to fend off like attackers, which I thought was pretty funny. But yeah, I will maybe play some more Rusty's Retirement. It wasn't a very expensive. It was like £3 in a bundle with Balatro, which I already owned, so it made it cheaper. Oh, I keep clicking on the video by accident. But yeah, I think this game is interesting. I'm not 100% sold on it yet, but it is more like a idle game. Also, we have to talk about reviews later because they've completely changed the review system on Steam. I don't know if you've seen this.
No, I've not looked at this. I've not looked at Steam for a while.
But yeah, those are the games I've been playing. Is there anything else to talk about? There was a new season of Hearthstone Battlegrounds. That's about it, yeah. But let's move on to films, Tony, because you've been watching some films with me.
Yeah.
We watched RoboCop 2, which you said I don't remember anything about to me before we started recording.
Yeah.
RoboCop 2 was the one where I'm also going to need to remember what Because we watched RoboCop 1, 2, and 3 very close together. Oh, it was the guy who was selling nuke to everyone?
Yeah. So it's the nuke drug. And then the same, I can't remember, the corporation wants to create a RoboCop 2.
Yeah. And then they were like, let's use criminals because then nobody's agreeing to become a RoboCop. And then they use
they've had failures and they shoot themselves in the head. It's like, oh, they don't want to live.
And then spoiler alert, spoiler alert, they used the criminal that was selling all the nuke because he's addicted to nuke, and then they can control him by giving him drugs. It's a very like fucking stupid film with not a lot of plot.
I think it's nowhere near as good as the first I think film. I find it. No. I think I can out of everyone who watched it in the call, like I got the most out of it. But yeah, it's very weird, and I just think it's interesting more than.
I'd buy that for $1. And then we watched RoboCop 3, which I think is an awful film for like almost the entire film. And then the last 20 minutes are like pretty funny.
Yeah, I would put it as it doesn't feel, even the last 20 minutes, I think was better. I would say like had some good moments.
Because this is the one where like the company, the OCP, is basically just going around and shooting everyone in Detroit to get them out of the building so they can turn them into Delta City.
But they're also bankrupt. They own their shares are owned by a Japanese corporation for some reason.
Because it has the really cool samurai robot that they send. And I was like, this character.
Well, it's really cool.
I like this character.
Until they don't. It looks cool, but I think they didn't use him very well.
Yeah. Because I was like, I hope this character has no dialogue and he just stands there menacingly. He's just aura farming the entire film.
Yeah. But it doesn't. The problem I have, it does not feel like a RoboCop film, like in any way, shape, or form. And like the act, like kill off characters, the wrong actors for the characters.
I feel like they kind of forgot it was a RoboCop film because I feel like he's barely in this film for the most part.
Yeah,
there's this whole part where they have to like reprogram. He like joins the rebels and then they like reprogramming him, and it's like a bunch of flashback stuff happens, and I'm just like, this film.
Yeah, well, he decided to join the rebels because like, he's like checking his main protocol. It's like, but they're the people, not. So is it OCP as a corporation?
Yeah.
So okay, and for some reason also he somehow has his protocols back, even though in 2 he removed them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's consistency between these films. I think they were like different like directors, and I don't think there was much like thought into like the next film.
Like in every way, shape, and form, just does not feel like a RoboCop film. Like it has a couple of actors that.
This is by far the worst one for sure. I think it is like way worse than 2. Sorry.
Yeah.
And 1 is like a good film, and then my slight complaint with 1, where I'm like, I kind of doesn't have a story, and it kind of doesn't make sense, but it doesn't really matter because it's such a great action scene. And then RoboCop 2 and RoboCop 3, that like complaint becomes like this massive gaping hole. It's like, okay, they really have no story and also nothing else going on about these films.
The action isn't good enough to hide that.
Yeah. I also watched the film Stay Hungry with my friend Jesse because we were looking up like early Arnold Schwarzenegger films.
Yeah, I decided not to watch this one.
And this is a film. Because it's got like because it's got Jeff Bridges and Arnold Schwarzenegger in a film, and I've never heard of it, and it's from like the 70s. But it's essentially like we couldn't tell because this woman was like hitting on this guy, Jeff Bridges, the entire film, and we're like, and I'm like, okay, I think that's Jeff Bridges' girlfriend now. My friend's like, no, that's Arnold Schwarzenegger's girlfriend, and we're like, is she? Because she was kind of like. She was kind of his. It seemed like they were going out, but then they weren't, and I was like, "Were they swingers? Like, what's going on here?" But basically, they're trying to get this gym so that it can be demolished for a development project. But then he starts liking the people at the gym. There's some insane scenes in this film of like people fucking messed up throwing weights at people, or like there's a scene of bodybuilders all running throughout the streets. There's also a scene of Arnold Schwarzenegger playing the violin, which I had to look up. Does Arnold Schwarzenegger play any instruments? Which the fact is no. It was all for camera.
Yeah, it was okay.
Definitely an oddity of a film. I don't know if I'd recommend watching, because it is kind of boring for some parts, but then like certain scenes are like, it's like, oh, okay, what the fuck is happening here? Like the fucking extended like scenes with the prostitutes, or like the fucking gym, like the scenes where they're throwing like weights at each other and stuff like that, and they're having a fight. But yeah,
is this a 90-minute film? Is it just like a
no
length film? Is it a long one?
It's 1 hour 40, so that's what, 100 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah,
100 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
So it's a little longer.
How did they get so much? They got so much footage they couldn't squeeze it in.
Also, Tony, I've been watching season 9 of Bar. I don't. Have I ever talked about Bar Rescue on this podcast? I'm one of the biggest Bar Rescue fans in the world.
I can't remember. I assume so, but I don't remember. One
of my friends accidentally joined the watch party the other day, and they were like, I was here to play Wordle, and I accidentally joined. What is this?" And I was like, "How do I explain this? It's basically." I was like, the best way I could explain this is it's Kitchen Nightmares. But for bars, basically, you have this big personality in the bar industry, John Taffer, and he is the guy who goes around and shouts at people and goes, "This bar fucking sucks. I'm going to rescue it.
I'm shutting it down.
Shut it down. Shut it down. Me and you get off on the wrong foot, buddy. Let's be friends." But like, it's interesting because we've been watching it for the longest time, and we had to stop watching it because they only had up to like season 6 or something on Amazon when we were watching it through Amazon Watch Party. But like season 9 is concurrent. It's the latest season, so it's interesting because like when we were watching it, we were watching episodes from like 2010, which was what 15 years ago, and we could be like, is this bar closed or not? And now we're just like, oh, this bar's probably fucking open because it's literally 2024 this was shot. So it's like, there's no way they've shut by now. But the one thing I did want to say about season 9 was John Taffer, I think, is trying to like soft retire because he started getting other people to host it. And we like some of them, but not all of them. Like Phil Wills has been like he's basically his chief mixologist, his bartender guy for the longest time as an expert. And he started hosting it, and we feel like he doesn't have the right energy to be like a John Taffer type. I'm going to shout at you and then turn this bar around. Right. Like the best way I can describe it is that if you've watched like 8 seasons of Kitchen Nightmares, and then suddenly in season 9, Gordon Ramsay wasn't in it, you'd be like, what the fuck is going on?
He phoned in for like 5 minutes.
Yeah. There are some guests, like there's a guy called Ashish who's like a restaurant owner who's quite good. And then there's another guy who seems like a real Nepo baby. John says he's like, he's nightclub royalty, and his parents own like the biggest nightclubs in Vegas or whatever. Because John Taffer's from Vegas, and like I think it's season 8 that the COVID pandemic starts, and he does all of his bar rescues in his hometown of Vegas. And every single product placement he does, he's like, I got you a blue zone. If you put your hands under here and they turn green, it means you're viral free. John Taffer's from New York, so that's why there's a New York accent I'm doing.
He's from New York but lives in Vegas.
Yeah, he just likes Vegas, I guess. But like, one of the experts he has, Tony, he does get Danny Trejo to be the expert on some of the episodes. Yeah. And Danny Trejo has like his own restaurant because he has, I think it's called Trejo Tacos, which I've learned apparently they have a location in London if you ever want to have Danny Trejo's tacos. Yeah.
Oh my God. Next time we're in London. But where in London is a question.
I watch a fuck ton of Bar Rescue with my friends all the time, and I just don't think I've ever mentioned it on the podcast. I love this show. It is great trash television. And in terms of horror, Tony, me and my friends have started watching the Alien Earth TV show. We've watched the first 2 episodes.
Yeah. Oh my God!
Did you watch this as well?
I didn't watch it properly. I did tune in for a little bit. I don't know.
But so far, it's been kind of not I'm not a big fan of it so far. It's been very slow.
Lots of questions. Yeah. From listening to you, I can hear it very slow. From what I saw, is like I was like questioning, is like, why are they doing this? Like, not in like a what's happening? Like, why these humans acting the way they're acting, sort of thing.
Yeah, it seems like because they're setting up like the Waitani and the other like they're going very hard on like the different Earth corporations that exist and do like the Android stuff and stuff like that. And there's this whole like
it's not working like going for the corporate side of Earth. Yeah, I think that could work.
They're doing this whole subplot of like this. They've basically turned kids into cyborgs, or I never remember like what's the difference between like cyborgs and androids and robots and like
well, they put the brain into like a separate robot body, so it's like full android, right?
They download their conscious and then put them into an adult body, and they do it because when they're children, because they have an easier time accepting their new host. They found that adults kept like rejecting it and dying and stuff. But what you get basically is you get children inside like ridiculously powerful mech bodies, which I think is an interesting thing, because in the previous Alien Romulus, you had like there was the android Andy who was kind of mentally handicapped, right? And that was interesting because he was like really strong, but he kind of needed help with a lot of things, right? And that's kind of a similar thing they're going for here in terms of like kids in adult superhuman strength body robots. And they're building.
There's a question a lot of other technology that exists in this universe. Like, I just have questions.
Yeah, I don't know how Alien works. I don't know how Alien works as a TV show. Is what I'm going to say. Like, because they're kind of.
You could just do like. Just go no alien stuff and just like go like some really weird corporate stuff.
Because it's called Alien Earth because they've basically this alien ship has crash landed on Earth, and basically an android on the ship sent it on a collision course with Earth, because in every alien film there is one android whose like prime directive is to bring the aliens to Earth in order so they can use them for like weapon technology and stuff like that, right? But yeah, I'll just keep watching this Alien Earth thing, but I've not been super impressed with it so far.
Is it coming out weekly? Is it?
Yeah, I think there's another. It comes out on Tuesdays, and I think there's another episode.
Right.
I think there might be another one episode out, maybe two that I haven't watched yet because my friend was out of the country. But I'll keep an eye on this, and I will tell you if it's worth watching towards the end.
Okay. Just get to the end sort of situation.
Yeah, I haven't been impressed with it, but I've literally watched 2 episodes. I did say last time we spoke on this, I would watch more Vinland Saga and talk about it. I have finished season 1 of Vinland Saga. I've watched 24 episodes of it, and I really like this show. I understand why people were comparing it to Orb, which is one of my favorite animes of last year. It does have that really interesting look at historical stuff through an anime lens, and the idea of being heavily character driven. I like the story. I found myself struggling to get into it in the beginning because, one, I thought that some of the characters having like almost superhuman level strength while being a historical thing was sort of like taking me out of it, right? When you're like, this is events that happened in history, but also this guy can take 20 arrows and jump 6 boats across and punch a guy in the face, right?
Legends of history, I suppose.
Yeah.
Myths and legends, more than historical.
But yeah, I sat down and I kept watching like 4 episodes a day or something. I was like, oh no, I'm really starting to get into this now. Because I found myself, another thing that was struggling to get into it, it's told from the perspective of like the Danish Vikings, and they come and they kill the English people, and I'm like, those damn Danish. They just keep coming and killing all these poor innocent Christian monks in England. I think one of my favorite characters is Thorkel the Tall. And the reason I like him so much is because the Danish are like invading England and they're going to attack London. And Thorkel is like literally throwing logs at people, and he's absolutely destroying the invading Danish Vikings, and they're like, "Hey, if you join our side again, we'll pay you twice as much. We know you only join the English because they're paying you so much." And he says, "I don't care about the money. And he was like, "Look, the English are going to lose. Why are you on the side of the English?" And he said, "I think the English are weak. That's exactly why I want to be on their side. It's going to be a better fight that way." Thorkel literally just wants to get to Valhalla in the coolest way possible. And that's a really cool thing about Vinland Saga is like the like juxtaposition between like the English Christianity versus like the Scandinavian like Norse mythology and Valhalla. Like the prototype Klingons, Tony, the Vikings.
Yeah. So this sounds very similar to the show Vikings.
Right.
But a little bit in the future. Yeah, I've only think that the first couple of seasons of that, there's like very similar ideas. I think more grounded, but still like based on myth and legend more than actual facts.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't looked up any of the historical stuff. I was going to finish it, and then I was going to be like, okay, were these based on any real character? Because, like, for example, Tony, Wales is mentioned in this, and this actually goes into like the Welsh people, which I was surprised about. Cool. I feel like most people just forget Wales exists. I wouldn't expect Japanese people to know like a bunch about Wales.
I got annoyed the other day. Someone looked at a map of like had like a I think it's like a Lego set. Someone like looked at like a map of like the British Isles and went, "Yeah, that's England." I'm like, no, that's not England. But that's also Scotland and Wales and Ireland. But sure.
But it goes into like because it goes into like the Welsh being at war with the English, but then it's like he was saying like the English hate us because we're invaders, but the English are also like they took over the Saxons because we used to be the Anglo-Saxons, right?
Then we pushed to Wales, which is why Wales hated England. So arguably Wales is more English than England, arguably.
Because the story follows the tale of Thorfinn, and he grows up and he has this idea of he wants to be this great warrior, and then he has to grow up through the true horrors of war, and he gets to see like how awful like killing and destructing and like war is, right? And we have the famous quote from his father, Thor's the Troll of Yarm, where he's like, "I have no enemies, not a single one. Remember that." But yeah, I really like the OP2 as well. Great song, "Man on a Mission." I think it's Dark's Crow is the name of the band. I have to look it up, but that's a great OP because you hear like it's like bagpipes into like rock music. It's pretty hard.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'd recommend this. I think it is a show you kind of have to sit down and get into. You almost like with like Game of Thrones, you have to watch like a couple of episodes at least just to get into the world and understand like the characters. Well, that's what I was going to say about Thorfinn. I was hoping
watch the first season.
I was really hoping that the characters were like superhumans because Thorfinn was a child and that's how he saw the characters. And as he got older, they became more and more like actual people, and he started to see them more like regular human beings. That would be a real like Hellblade 2 kind of thing to do, But yeah, I would say some of the characters do kind of have more superhero powers as he gets older. So that idea wasn't good. It's animated by Wit Studios, who do Attack on Titan is their other big anime that they do.
Oh, them. Okay.
But season 2 is done by Mappa. So it changes animation studios to Mappa. And I think, if I remember correctly, season 2, Mappa does, off the top of my head, Chainsaw Man is one of their big like action things they do.
Yeah.
I've watched 2 episodes of season 2 now. And well, I say like, because season 2, like season 1 ends with like a big plot point, and then season 2 goes, and here's a completely different person with a completely different story.
Interesting.
But then it like ties it back into the story of season 1, and then I'm like, okay, where is this going? Like, what's happened in between the time that we haven't seen?
So it is more like a Game of Thrones long way. Oh, here's this random other place. Like, wait,
I will say,
that's why we're here.
I will say, without trying to spoil anything, it is kind of like Orb in that respect on the movement of the Earth, which I really like the way that show is formatted. But yeah, I recommend watching Vinland Saga season 1, I really recommend that. Also, what really confused me is when Wit Studios has an intro, they come out on motorbikes, right? And it goes da 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 da. Wit Studios. Season 2 starts and it goes, the motorbikes come out and it goes da 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 da. Mappa Studios. And I'm like, why do they have the exact same intro? That was really confusing. But apparently the guys in the motorbikes is the production company. So it's the same production, but it's a different studio, but they kept the same motorbike intro. But the whole reason I bring this point up is like most anime studios have like almost no presence when it comes to like the intro. So you will see like the OP of the show, you will see the show, the ED, and then there'll be nothing. Like when you're watching a movie, Tony, you'll see like New Line Cinema or 20th Century Fox.
Lots of stuff.
You almost never see that for anime. And it's like Wit Studio on the motorbikes and Mappa on the motorbikes. I was like, you immediately see that and it's like, oh, okay. Like they're actually being like, okay, we worked on this. Whereas like, for the most part, anime studios are overworked, underpaid, and unrecognized, I would say, for the most part.
Yeah. So at least one of those at least being rectified by this, I suppose.
Yeah. But it made me Google, like, is Wit Studio Mappa Studios? This is very confusing. No, they're separate entities, but they have the same, like, production underneath them, right? Okay. Which is why they the twin engine, which is why they have the motorbikes when you watch the like before the show comes on.
This makes some sort of sense then. Okay.
But yeah, they do Jujutsu Kaisen is another huge. They also did Attack on Titan, so they. So Wit Studios did Attack on Titan, and then Mappa did Attack on Titan. Wit Studio did the first studio of Vinland Saga, and then Mappa Studios did the second season of Vinland Saga. So it seems like they switch it up quite a lot as well.
Yeah, maybe they're just always in close collaboration. Maybe I don't know. It seems very weird. I've never heard of that. Not that I know much about the ins and outs of those things, but
yeah. Well, it's like I was looking up because I've been watching. I've talked about this previously, but I've been watching the 2 shonen series I've been watching this season are Gachakuta and Tungananki. And I was watching Tungananki a couple weeks ago, and I was like, man, this show fucking sucks. This show is not good. And I was like comparing what the studios had made between each other, right? And like the studio that makes Gachakuta is the studio that does the hero show, My Hero Academia, and they also do Mob Psycho, and they do like really. Like just watching Gachakuta, I'm like, this shonen show is like so much better than this Tungananki show. And I'm like, what other shows has Tungananki made? And they do Monster Musume is the other show which they do, which I love Monster Musume, but that is some dog shit ass Joe slop. That is like that's an ecchi show about monster women. Like that's not like a highbrow animation sort of thing. And but when I was watching Tungananki, every character in this show that is a woman is just like ridiculously stacked, and they're just like animated to be like these caricatures of a woman. And I'm like,
right.
When I looked it up and I was looking up, it's the animation studio, the Monster Musume. I'm like, that makes so much sense. But yeah, maybe I'm going to drop this Tungananki. It's kind of shit, but it's also watchable, but it's not good.
Okay.
And Gachakuta is like just infinitely better than it if you want a shonen show this season. Because it's Bones, which are the guys who do Mob Psycho and Hero Academia, which is much better shows. But I'm getting sidetracked. Tony, I finished watching Panty and Stocking with Garter Belt, which I really like this show. Again, I randomly watched this because I got recommended the soundtrack on YouTube Music, and I said, what the hell is this? I've never heard of it. And then they made a revival show this season called New Panty and Stocking, fucking literally 15 years later. And it's been really good so far, Tony. New Panty and Stocking is really good. One thing to complain about, Amazon bought the rights to this, and then they recast pretty much everybody. Which for the English dub, they recast, which is annoying. So Garterbelt, I understand because I was like, why didn't they get Garterbelt to come back? I didn't know. So Garterbelt is a black character. I did not know that 15 years ago he was voiced by a white guy, and he's now saying, no, I can't voice that.
Yeah.
Which is fine. They got an actual appropriate voice actor for Garterbelt now, which I think is fine.
Yeah.
I got used to it, whatever. But like, when the original English stuff of Panty and Stocking, the original voice actresses, they actually ad-libbed and like wrote some of the dialogue for Panty and Stocking. And it like the actual dialogue in the original series is really good. Whereas these new girls they've got, they don't sound as good as the original voice actors. Which is kind of disappointing. But people are saying they might recast it with like the original cast for like the Blu-ray or something like that. Potentially, we'll see. I've kind of got used to it now because I've watched like 6 or 7 episodes. So I'm like, okay, I got over it. It's not as good as the original, but I've got used to the new voices now.
It's one of the new voice actors, like having to like play in the shoes of someone else, kind of intimidating, and also a bit weird if like they could have gone the originals anyway.
Yeah, and it's strange. Like Mob Psycho, I think like season 2 or season 3, they just recast Mob randomly, and it was like so jarring. I'm just like, what? Why? It just sounds so strange.
Is this like a video game thing where they just like we don't respect or like understand?
I don't know. Some voice actors are union and some are not union as well, so that could be to do with it.
Yeah, but should we just pay them?
But speaking,
I never understood like why that's such a big issue. I never quite understood that.
Tony, speaking of the good soundtrack from the original Panty and Stocking, Teddy Lloyd is back, and the soundtrack for the new Panty and Stocking is really sick. I'm hoping they release more of it because there's still some songs that they've teased which we don't have the full versions of yet, like the Raise Up song, which is really good. The new ED is really good. It's M-Flow. It's this really cool song that they've done. I'd recommend the ED. Good music, Teddy Lloyd. Episode 4 was really cool because they have this... I like how Trigger are just insane animators, and all they want to do is just pick up the weirdest projects and just absolutely stretch their animating muscles on just flexing on everybody else, where there is like... Panty and Stocking is usually set up as like mini episode. It's like split up into like more of like a manga chapter format. I'm guessing, I'm fairly sure Panty and Stocking was probably a manga before, right? Yeah, it was a manga before, so it makes sense that they split up like manga chapters for the anime.
Yeah, okay.
But one of the ending stories for episode 4 of New Panty and Stocking, Tony, is completely... there's an alien that comes to Earth who looks like a character from the animated Marvel shows of the 60s where they just didn't give a shit about anime. Or like, you know Star Trek, the animated series? It looks exactly like that. And he shoots them with a beam and everyone gets turned to this like caricature of like these awful 60s superhero animations, and it's like an absolute love letter to that one animation style, and it's fucking great, and it exists for like 10 minutes of screen time, and that's it, just for that like one joke on that episode, and it was really funny. Also, we get Gen Z angels in this new season, so we have the new angels who come and say, "That's cooked, bro," or they literally, in the English dub, they literally say, "What the helly," which I couldn't believe. When I heard that, I was like, oh my god. I've been saying "what the helly" so much ironically for the past couple of weeks. I'm like just making fun of the Zoomer lingo, but like I couldn't believe we've already reached "what the helly" in an anime episode.
That is wild.
So you know, like every character has their own theme. Like I showed you, like Fly Away is like the Angels theme. Scanty and Nisox have their own theme. And then when the Angels and the Demons team up in this season and they've remixed their themes together, the Gen Z Angels have their own theme. They're really fucking gay, by the way. I mean, we literally have The Summer Hikaru Died this season, which is like gay horror, and they're definitely out-gaying them for sure. And they essentially like rip off each other's golden underwear, and their song is essentially like a parody of the Backstreet Boys, and it's great.
Right.
It sounds like a Backstreet Boys song, which I absolutely love. But yeah, that's really good. I recommend New Panty and Stocking. Really good show from this season. We've seen like 7. I think it comes out tonight. I'm gonna watch the new episode. So we've got 8 episodes out now. That's the thing, Tony. It's been so long since we've done the podcast. Like we're like 3/4 of the way through the summer season now. For anime. So I've watched a lot of stuff. I finished See You Tomorrow at the Food Court. I mentioned this one was like a shorter one, so this was only 6 episodes long. And honestly, I could have watched 12 episodes. Hell, I could have watched 24 episodes of this. This is a great little slice of life show about Wada, who is an absolute gremlin who just talks about wailing for her favorite characters on her gacha game. And then we have her friend Yoshi, who just wants to, it is a Gyaru girl, but she's very like calm and relaxed and just wants to sit and learn about English and American stuff. But it was like a really relaxing little show about, obviously based on a real mall, and we have our big product placements for Baskin Robin and stuff like that, right? But yeah, I really enjoyed the show, and I recommend See You Tomorrow at the Food Court as a relaxing 6-episode slice of life show. I started to watch Secrets of the Silent Witch because it was one of the higher rated shows of this season and I hadn't watched it. And I watched 3 episodes and I said, this is reminding me of the Gorilla God's Go-To Girl from the previous season. It is a series about a socially awkward girl who then who is really OP and is forced to interact with a bunch of ridiculously handsome looking boys, and she has to awkwardly try and talk to them. And I was like, it's looking like a reverse harem thing. And if you reverse the roles and it was a boy and a bunch of women, look, I'd totally be into it. But maybe this is just not for me, you know? I wasn't. I watched 3 episodes of this. I gave it a go. It was highly rated, but I was like, you know what? Socially awkward woman who has to interact with a bunch of boys. And it's another fucking student council high school thing, but with magic. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't need to watch it. I watched Elia hides her feelings in Russians, and that was already enough boring student council romance shit. I don't need to watch another one of these. Tony, an anime I have to talk about, though. Tony, this next show, Takopi's Original Sin. Every week, I would look at r/animes. They would rank every single anime that came out that week, and every single week, without fail, 6 weeks in a row, which is the entire duration, Takopi's Original Sin was the top-rated anime on there. And I said, okay, I have to check this out. So this was sort of off my radar because it's what's called an ONA. And an ONA, basically the differentiation between an anime and ONA is ONA means on-net animation. So to be an anime, you can be streaming on services, but you also have to be broadcast on Japanese television. But an ONA just goes straight to streaming. It's not on Japanese television as well. I believe that's the distinction. And then OVA, original video animation, is usually like a bonus episode, which is like the differentiation. So if you go on like My Anime List or Annie List or whatever, and you break down the different anime, there'll be like anime, there'll be ONA, which will be stuff like Takopi, or it'll be stuff like the Chinese animations, because obviously Chinese animations don't air on Japanese TV. So if you make a Chinese anime thing, it's an ONA, not an anime, apparently. Which people are weird about the distinctions between anime and not anime, whereas I don't really
oddly
care.
Specific. I feel like it should be kind of a style or culture thing at the least.
So Tony,
that seemed a bit arbitrary.
So I'll just say now, Takopi's Original Sin might be the anime of the season. This is fucking incredible. It's really fucking good, but fuck, how do I talk about this? This show will start with several content warnings, and you should take these very seriously. This show is really good, and you will have a very bad time watching it. I will give the intro to Takopi's Original Sin. A squid creature crash lands on Earth, and he comes from the planet Happy, and he comes to spread happiness. And he has these little gadgets that he uses to spread happiness. So he can give you these wings that will let you fly for a couple of seconds. He has a gadget that is called like a happiness rope, where you can tie one end to somebody and one end to another person's finger, and it will cause them to become friends again, right? And he basically crash lands on this planet, and the first person he interacts with is Shizuka. And Shizuka is a very unhappy girl. She is not happy at all. And it tells this story of him interacting with Shizuka, who is this... I don't know how much I want to go into spoilers, but she's basically having a very, very, very bad time. But it's told from the perspective of fucking alien Kirby. So he's like, oh, what's going on? What is this unhappiness you're talking about? So I think this show's so interesting because it's like somebody who has no concept of someone being like depressed or like being absolutely bullied to shit is like, what is unhappiness? What is pain? What is going on? And it's like, but it becomes like heart-wrenching, like when you see like how Takopi is only trying to help this person, and things just keep getting fucking worse and worse and worse. I've seen this described as misery porn, and I don't think it is, but it is very like hard to watch at some points. Because I want to point out as well, Tony, these are children. They're like 9 to 10 years old. And this show does deal with stuff such as suicide and stuff like that. And oh god, it's like one. I'm going to tell you what. Light spoiler alert, I guess. Episode 1, Takopi has this magical rope, and Shizuka's like, Takopi, can I borrow this magical rope by myself? I'm going to use it by myself. And he's like, but they told me I had to always supervise the human. I always had to supervise the aliens when I let them use the magical gadgets. They don't use them incorrectly. And hours goes by, and Shizuka hasn't come back with the magical rope. And but the thing is, Tony, that's like the start of the show, and it just gets worse from there. But this is real. This show's real. Okay. It's a hard show to talk about, Tony, because I can't talk about it without spoiling the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
But it's really good, but it's really hard to watch because it will make you feel fucking awful after you watch it. But I need to talk at least a little bit about Takopi's Original Sin because it's really fucking well made. It's really well animated. They do a good job of it because I think it's so interesting to explore these really mature topics through the lens of an absolute fucking outsider. Like, I've never seen this done before, where it's like, I feel like he is literally Kirby, but he's experiencing, like, what it's like to just have your life absolutely ruined. Yeah. But yeah, I think I highly recommend Takopi's Original Sin. You will have a bad time, but I think you will enjoy the actual art of it overall, I think.
Yeah. It's I guess, art worth telling or art worth showing. Makes sense.
Because I initially looked at this and I was like, this looks like I'm going to have a very bad time watching it. And I watched it and I'm like, yep, I'm having a very bad time. It's currently ranked number 25 on the whole of my anime list, if that makes a difference to whether people want to watch this or not. But it's a good show. And
it's quite high up there, isn't it?
But yeah. That is so. I think my anime of this season list currently: Down to Down Season 2, Takopi's Original Sin, The Summer Hikaru Died, and there was one more which I was like, this is really good. Those are my current ones. What was the other one? Oh, The Fragrant Flower Blooms with Dignity from Cloverworks for the awesome romance show of the season, which is also one of the most highest rated shows of this season. But yeah, I just want to mention I have dropped Hotel Inhumans because I can't be bothered to watch that anymore. I think I watched like 6 episodes of that show. There was the John Wick Hotel anime. I wasn't really enjoying that one. Yeah. And then I dropped Secrets of the Silent Witch, which I mentioned I watched 3 episodes of, and then I was like, nah, this isn't for me. But yeah, Tony, that's all the anime I've been watching recently because it's been so long. Should we talk about trailers quickly?
Yeah.
Heretic and Hexen is getting a Night Dive remaster. They basically said, hey, we've done all the way up to Quake 2 and we couldn't move on until we'd finally, kind of wrapped up that bow of all the old like Doom era games, right? So they've, I think Heretic and Hexen was like Raven. So it was owned by Activision, but then Microsoft bought Blizzard ZeniMax, which owns Activision. And they've fully remastered them in the Hex engine. So there is a new soundtrack by Andrew Hushalt. They've made new expansions, brand new expansions, made by, I think it's id Software, I believe. I think it's
the new weapons or the same.
I think it's the same. I haven't played this one yet because id and Night Dive worked on the new expansions, I believe. And also they've made it so, like, from what I've heard about Heretic and Hexen, they're absolute mazes. They have made an optional mode you can have, which adds like a map with like key points on it to kind of push you in directions to go forward, which seems pretty cool. And also, Tony, as is tradition with Night Dive and Microsoft Blizzard stuff, it is 100% free if you already own the game. So I own this remaster because I own the original Heretic and Hexen on Steam, which is really cool to see.
Yeah.
And they basically said, look, we already done all this work with the new Doom plus Doom 2 remastered. They're essentially just in the Doom engine, so we can just port these and we'll have all the work we've done for that ready to go. And this was announced at QuakeCon, because QuakeCon was a few weeks ago. And also, speaking of Night Dive, Tony, Outlaws has been remastered. This was an old LucasArts games when you were like, it's basically like a boomer shooter cowboy game.
Yeah, I barely remember.
Yeah, it was like a heavy. It had like these great FMV like story sections. It had a good story to it, and then you would have like this revolver like boomer shootery gameplay. There was like a level on a moving train and stuff like that. But this is going to be a paid release, so even if you own the original game, you'll have to rebuy it. I think it's like £20. It's coming out in Steam in 3 months, and it's going to cost £25 over in here. But yeah, you can pre-purchase this now on Steam. Then, Tony, we have Bubsy 4D, Tony. And I was watching this, right? The reason I talk about this, I've never played a Bubsy game, and I've heard they're kind of... He was a big mascot platformer back in the day, but the games are kind of shit, right? But I was watching I was watching this trailer, and I was like, man, this looks a lot like Demon Turf, or Demon Tides, rather. I was playing that 3D platformer game where it was like the big open zone water area where it looked like, it was almost like Mario Bowser's Fury. And I was like, this is great. And I was like, man, this looks and almost looks like it plays like Demon Turf. And I looked it up and I was like, is this Demon Turf? Yeah. They literally just hired the guy who made Demon Tides and were like, hey, can you make a Bubsy game for us? So they've actually just taken like a really awesome indie dev and they've been like, hey, make a Bubsy game. So that's really cool. Because I was like, when is Demon Tides coming out? Because it's like they had that demo and I'm like, I haven't heard anything about the release day. And I guess they've been busy working on a Bubsy game.
Yeah.
Which is cool to see.
Get some money to do that first.
Because we saw this as well, because I think this is a really good business move, is to basically go, hey, let's take a really good indie dev and just get them to use these old IPs we're sitting... Because Atari's just been sitting on this Bubsy IP for the longest time, not really doing anything with it.
Yeah, sounds a good idea for it.
Yeah. But they've basically gone, hey, let's get Fabraz to remaster this. Because we talked about this on a previous podcast, but... I don't know if you remember, Sluggerfly did one of my favorite 3D platformers, Hellpie, and they are getting them to do the new Super Meat Boy game. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, this makes sense. Just take talented 3D platformer indie devs and get them to do your releases of IPs you're just sitting on. But yeah, the Steam page for this is up. I don't think we have a release date yet. Oh, the Fat Bard is doing the soundtrack again. The Fat Bard did the soundtrack for Demon Turf, sorry, the original Demon game. And I really liked the soundtrack from the Fat Bard. So yeah, excited to hear more of that soundtrack as well. Then we have Den Shatak, which to me almost looks like the spiritual successor to Omnitruck in terms of its absurdity, but it's more like, it looks like it more controls like a Tony Hawk game. So you're essentially grinding on rails as a train, but in the most insane Japanese way, but it is not made by Japanese people. People were talking about this.
Wait,
they were like, they were saying how like there's been so many Japanese aesthetically looking games that are not made by Japanese people coming out recently. And this is another one. I think this is made by maybe Spanish people, potentially.
Interesting.
But it has like that Jet Set Radio almost like aesthetic, right?
Yeah. No, this is great.
As the creators of Jet Set Radio call it, the manga style. 3D manga style is what they call it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Which is cool to see. But this looks really cool. Apparently, it's very hard to play from what I've heard, so I'll have to give this a go. It's coming out spring next year, which is cool to see.
Okay.
And then they've announced another SpongeBob SquarePants games in the rehydrated style. Because they've been remastering the old 3D SpongeBob games, and they even did like an original one, I think, like a Patrick game. But they just keep making these SpongeBob games, and I played the Battle for Bikini Bottom, the rehydrated one. I thought
stuff.
It was great. Oh, the David Hasselhoff's back as well for the trailer for this one.
What the hell?
But yeah, they just keep making these SpongeBob games, and I hope it's slightly better than Bikini Bottom, but I think that game's fine, and I could see myself playing this on the Steam Deck for sure. So yeah, it's cool to see. Oh, also, they announced Darksiders 4 was coming out, so they're making another Darksiders because they did a bunch of THQ Nordic announcement stuff. Yeah, but they didn't show anything about it. It was literally just like, we are making a Darksiders game, but we will say nothing about it. Which is why I don't have a trailer.
Hopefully, they understood what made it such a cool concept to begin with, and kind of go back to that. But
yeah, but let's move on to announcements, Tony. I don't know if you've heard of this little game, Hollow Knight Silksong, but they officially actually made an announcement for when the game's coming out, Tony. And
my god,
they did like a special like Hollow Knight Silksong direct thing, like they announced it like 2 days before, and they were like, it's coming out September 4th. If you want to hear the funniest thing, Tony, Hollow Knight Silksong is the fucking GTA 6 of the indie world, because every other indie game that was releasing at that time has now put out a video saying, we are delaying the game because we don't want to come up against Hollow Knight Silksong. Like literally, Baby Steps, the new like Devolver game with Bennett Foddy, made a trailer that was like, hey, They had like a giant Silksong character that he was walking over, and they were like, we're not getting in the way of Silksong. We're moving the release date of this. Also want to point out, GTA 6 also accidentally moved out of the way of Hollow Knight Silksong.
Yeah,
they got delayed to 2026. So
they knew.
But this Hollow Knight Silksong having an actual release date has taken it from like the biggest meme status like game of when is Hollow Knight. Every single game conference I've watched for the past like 2 or 3 years has been like Hollow Knight Silksong announcement, Hollow Knight Silksong announcement, question mark. Where's Hollow Knight Silksong? And they're going to have to find another game to hype cycle meme to death. Is it going to be when's Half-Life 3 coming out? Is it going to be when Titanfall 3 is coming out? What's the next one?
Everyone's forgot about those games.
Yeah. But yeah, this game is real, guys. I have seen a video of someone playing it at Gamescom. It's a real game that exists.
Yeah, that's wild.
Spy
It'll have to come out eventually, but
Spy Party has put out an update. Its first update in 4 years. Like it's been, they just launched this game. Like I remember playing this with my friend, and he bought it at full price. And he was like, "Yeah, this game never goes on sale," and they have done no updates for it. But like randomly, like 4 years later, they're like, "Hey, we added matchmaking to the game," and we're not dead. We will be doing more updates. And I'm like, okay,
What? Okay.
this game is alive, I guess. The ROG Ally handhelds have got a launch date of October 16th. So these will be coming out then. I don't think we know prices yet. There's been some leaked prices, but I'll wait for the official prices to tell you how much these cost. But interesting. This is ROG the Strix Point stuff, isn't it? I'm fairly sure it's like the actual full fat big boy GPU APU thing, right?
I think I want to say yes. But yeah, I'm not 100%.
I can just look it up. Google AI is telling me it uses the Z2 processor, which is not Strix Point. Okay.
Wait, is it a slightly different one for the Strix Point? Is it? Okay.
Well, I think the Z2 is like a slightly better version of the Z1, which is sort of like a 20-30% bump. But then like the Strix Point, which I think we've mostly been seeing in like really thin laptops or tablets, is like closer to like a desktop 4060. Like it's really powerful, but it obviously has much different thermal stuff. Yeah. Also, with the announcement of this, Tony, they've announced a new thing through DirectX called Advanced Shader Delivery, where they're going...
Oh, okay, that's good.
I don't know if you heard about this, but they're essentially going to let you download shaders from the cloud. Because the idea was that you would compile the shaders on your PC, and this would take a very long time, right?
Yeah, and you know what the hardware is, so...
Yeah, but for like the ROG Xbox Ally, they can go, hey, this is what the shaders are. We've pre-compiled it, and you can download it on the cloud. And there was... The thing they were saying was, this is going to massively improve your loading time because you won't have to compile shaders and you can just download them from the cloud. But theoretically, Tony, it should be possible to do this on other platforms and not just for the ROG Ally. You should be able to do this with your gaming PC as well.
Yeah, if the specific combinations there has been done, I feel like that's going to be...
But yeah, this will be first on the ROG Xbox Ally and the Microsoft Store, but they will be bringing it to others later. Because like Alex Battaglia from Digital Foundry is saying, hey, this could actually be like a silver bullet for shader compilation stutter. If this gets like more broadly brought out to download shaders from the cloud.
My understanding of that is that I don't think it's possible to like have like mass like every configuration. I think that is a big issue. I don't know that I vaguely remember someone talking about like how it like it's dependent on like some sort of communication, like some sort of like, way it's like installed with your current hardware, which is why it's like so like hardware specific.
Yeah,
if this solves the thing where it's like, oh, it's like more agnostic, like maybe like a hypervisor level, like some virtual layer where that makes it easier and like more simple. Like, sure, I could see that, but I want to see that in writing first.
I think for the shader to be compiled, the main things they need is your GPU and your know what drivers you're on. That's like the major thing for compiling shaders. And I think...
But I think there's some weird stuff with like how it like interfaces with the motherboard and stuff. Like I think there's a lot of like weird stuff that can like really mess it up.
But they were saying like, why don't you just make it so that you have an option to compile? Because they package up shaders and they get the most common shaders for you to compile. And it's like, why don't you just let them compile every shader? And they were saying like, well, if we compiled every shader ourselves and then allowed you to compile every shader, it would mean that it would take like several hours before you were able to launch the game. But with this system, if you could compile the shaders on cloud, you would just have to download like a small, like 100 megabytes, like a really small file, and it would be way quicker than like manually caching the shaders yourself.
I could see like, say I compile a shader for my PC, and it gets cached on the cloud, and someone happens to have exactly the same setup. Like, oh, this is already available. I can see that working. That's like that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see.
Silver bullet's the right word for that situation.
When it comes to shader compilation and this sort of stuff, this is like over my head in terms of complexity. I don't know like the ins and outs of this.
A lot of people said is the thing. I feel like a lot of communicators, like, it's not even in their wheelhouse. I think it's just very complicated.
But yeah, let's move on to releases. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound came out on the 31st of July, and let's have a look at the reviews. Very positive. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound is these rare games where I found absolutely no flaws. The art design is so amazing. It's actually sad you can't turn off the HUD. Every frame looks like a wallpaper. The music is its own vibe. The gameplay is more simple but incredibly well put together.
No. Is there not a shortcut to hide it?
I don't know. Range attack with the kunai, special move, double jump. The game is super hard. Isn't super hard, but there's definitely a challenge. The coolest thing is if you die, it's 100% your fault, not the game's stupidity. Hard mode unlocks after you complete the game. 10 out of 10 instantly made it into my personal all-time top games. Seems like people are really enjoying this. You want to know what's crazy about this game, though, is the situation with the Switch release of this game. Apparently nobody is able to get Switch 2 dev kits, but okay, so the Switch 1 version of this runs at 30 FPS, which it's a pixel art game. It runs at 30 FPS, and there's no Switch 2 version of it either, which I'm just like, there's no way you couldn't get this running at 60 on a Switch 2. That is insane.
The problem just that the kits aren't, or the dev tools aren't available.
But the fact that it's 30 on the Switch 1 on a pixel art side scroller.
Yeah, that's. If I mean, is it if it's just a CPU bottleneck, then I can understand.
Yeah, I mean the Switch 1 has an awful CPU for sure, yeah, and the Switch 2 doesn't even have that great of a CPU either. But
no, but I guess an improvement is still an improvement.
But we've seen much more powerful games than this running at better FPS. Titanfall 2 came out on the 1st of August, and this is the brand new ARPG from Grimlaw Games, and apparently a lot of people have been buying this. I saw like this was selling like a lot. It hit an all-time peak of 27,000 people playing it, which I was much more than I was expecting of this, because it's like a release of an old series, but it seems like people are just wanting good ARPG games like Path of Exile and what was the other one called? I want to say Wolf something. I can't remember, but there's another one I'm thinking of that came out recently that people seem to like, because people were not too happy with Diablo 4. But this has come out into early access. This is more of a demo rather than early access, and as someone that likes to explore every corner and hear every dialogue, it took me a bit over 10 hours to complete, which doesn't justify the current price of the game. For those that aren't sure, they will take out the end product. This is quite a long way to go, however the foundations are great, and the devs have stayed faithful to the mechanics and the feel of the first game. This one is very promising, and despite the rather bare-bones state of the current game, with a lack of enemy variety and skill abilities, I still have hooked on a story and progression of the first act as a melee character. Overall, there isn't much to do as of now, but the devs did an amazing job, and I believe they will keep up the good work. By the way, the art direction is really good. So people are saying it's more like a demo in terms of where the content is for the early access, but people seem to be liking it so far, and obviously there will be more stuff added later down the line, sort of thing. Mafia: The Old Country came out on the 7th of August. This is the brand new Mafia game, and I've heard it's like very linear and very short. I think it's like, I want to say like 10 hours long. Is there how long to beat on here? Main story 12 hours. Like, it's not a super long game, and I think people were like, oh, it's like a GTA style game, it's going to be open world, and then they haven't played the earlier Mafia games that are like super linear. But like cinematically, it looks very cool.
Yeah, I would take a short, well polished, linear story game if it's good. But
somebody said, I've never felt more bored while playing a Mafia game. The ending was meh, felt rushed towards the end. Extremely simple mechanics and no real life to the game. It was like constant stage after stage kind of gameplay. Would even involve a buying system or stores in the game. If nothing makes it true different, an economy is pointless. Somebody says, It provides a compelling narrative. The graphics are great. It's one of the most beautiful Mafia games. The story narrative, the game starts off fairly slow, like most Mafia games. After the first third chapter, you're hooked. Music's incredible. Finished the game in 11 hours for a good AAA experience. Yeah, because it was a shorter game, but it's also cheaper. It's like £45, which is a cheap game in our current year. It feels very weird to say that, but that is kind of true.
Cheaper big game. Yeah.
But it seems like people are really enjoying like the cinematic story, like music and atmosphere of it, and then like the gameplay is fine, sort of thing. What do you think of have you ever played any of the Mafia games, Tony?
No,
I haven't either, and I think I own like all of the remastered ones. And I just think they look like 7 out of 10 games to me. They look fine.
Yeah, 6 to 7
for
sure, depending on which Mafia game we're talking about. But yeah,
13th of August, The Bazaar has been released on Steam, which I was like, I feel like if you're releasing one of these live service card games, you pretty much got to release on Steam at some point. If you're not like Blizzard or someone, right?
Yeah.
I do want to play some more Bazaar, but I play Hearthstone Battlegrounds, and I kind of also installed Magic the Gathering Arena again. I wanted to try Magic the Gathering again. Yeah.
Right.
So whether I'll play the more Bazaar, we'll see. But what are people saying on here? Jacked the price up to £40 the day before I bought it. Figured out, oh, well, you snooze, you lose. Then 2 days later, they cut the price in half and add a free DLC. Can't refund it. Their own support is silent. The community manager and Discord suggested I just get over it. Yeah, a lot of people are complaining about the microtransactions and the monetization of this game. Because originally they said this game was going to be free to play, and then the monetization would be purely cosmetic. But now it seems like they've changed their mind on that, where it's like, okay, you have to pay to play the game, and then there's also you can pay to get into like an arena format sort of thing. Which I then think lets you unlock cosmetic stuff. But maybe I'll check this out later. Dragon's Drive, we talked about this. This came out on the 14th of August. Off came out on the 15th of August, which I've seen people talking about this like it's the next Undertale. But I'm just like, I don't know anything about it. Let's have a look. It's overwhelmingly positive, Tony, which is over 90%. Beating Off was one of the greatest experiences of all time. However, it did take quite a while to finish. If I could beat Off for the first time again, I would take that opportunity in a heartbeat. I've seen a lot of people making jokes about the fact the game's called Off as well. Solid remaster, just as good as I remember. Was this a remaster of a game that had already come out? One of the most influential RPGs of the last 20 years is finally coming to Steam. Oh, okay, so it's like a re-release of a weird RPG game that's already come out. Ah, okay, I didn't know that.
Right. Yeah, I've never heard of it.
It was my first time as well. It's relatively basic RPG Maker combat, but does what it needs, only done a handful of times. It's pretty clear what strategies to take into battle. I know it's considered an influential title in some ways, and I can see why, particularly how it draws a distinct line between you as the player behind the fourth wall and the actions of the battler. It's also certainly not the first game I've played with a very direct sense of something bad is happening here, and it's a result of what I am doing. Yeah, it seems very like Undertale, Everhood, that sort of like Lisa sort of esque, RPG Maker sort of style game. Super World came out on the 15th of August into early access, and my first reaction is, that's cool, but I'm going to wait until they've finished the game because I don't want to play this in early access. I feel like my experience of the Superland games is like they're these great little toy-like Metroidvania games, and I want to play them as a complete experience.
Yeah, for sure. It feels, it's like there's many games like that. It's just I don't understand why you would want to play it early, but I guess there's some people would just.
It seems like people are. There is a lot of content here. Like people have got like 17, 20 hours, and they're saying there's lots of puzzles to do already.
Yeah.
Somebody says here, this game is disappointing. I like the first Superline with its level design. The devs have thrown that right out the window. The first and second areas are crowded, messy, and don't seem to have any theme or cohesion with each other. It feels thrown together with not much thought, or maybe too much. Instead of levels you move through, it's one semi-big area, what feels like 20 puzzles crammed into it. Okay. Maybe that was a design decision for the early access. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. Stick It to the Stickman has come out from the publisher of Omnibus. I love that to this day, whenever I see a trailer for like a Devolver Digital published game, they will be like, from the publishers of Omnibus, which came out literally 10 years ago almost. And I'm like, I'm probably one of the only people who's even played Omnibus at this point. I feel like not many people have actually even remember that game.
I guess that's the meme, but yeah.
But it's all Tony from the developers of Genital Jousting, from the developers of Terra Nil and Gorn, and all these other games. Cricket Through the Ages is another game they did. But yeah, this game, I played the demo for this on like Itch or something, didn't I? And I was like, this is pretty fun. It's like the one where you like combo moves together as like a stick man, and you have to fight through like a corporate structure. I thought it was really cool. This is out in early access. The game is fun, there's no doubt that. That being said, for all the love of this, Holy, let's change the key bindings. It's got potential. Look up the Shoot Stick Fight series from Hyun's Dojo and watch it. Imagine being able to do all that stuff in a video game, including the boss battles. Buy it now that it's cheap. Invest, invest, invest. How much is it in a minute? It is £4.50. It is quite cheap, actually. I'm guessing they'll probably change the price after the early access period. But yeah, cool to see. Sword of the Sea came out from Giant Squid, the creators of Abzu and The Pathless, and I believe they did Journey as well. I thought this one looked interesting because it had more mechanics. Like it seemed like it was more of like a movement skateboarding game. As you were like skating through like the dunes and stuff. Let's see what people are saying. I feel like I need this kind of game at least once a year. The last one was Jusant, now the Sword of the Sea. No cutscenes, no dialogue. Just glide through non-verbal storytelling like it's a beautiful dream that you don't want to wake up from and enjoy those few lovely hours. A genuinely incredible gaming experience. The love child of Tony Hawk and Journey. There is a lot of written text here worth reading along all the hover sword antics. Don't miss out on this one. It's one of the great games of summer. It seems it takes about 3 hours to beat, and it's more like a cinematic just... It's almost like a journey, you know, along the way. As you skate along. Yeah, I played Journey years ago and I didn't like it, but I felt like I could like one of these games. So I'm always like, should I play something like Abzu or this, you know? That came on the 19th of August. Also on the 19th of August, Shanty Advance, Risky Revolution. The Shanty's Adventure comes full circle in this long-lost sequel. Is this like a Game Boy Advance thing? It looks like a Game Boy Advance game, almost. Let's have a look. It's awesome to see this game finally come to fruition after being cancelled ages ago. Also, the fact that it's still a Game Boy Advance game. This is the sort of thing that happens when you have developers who are passionate about their craft. Hopefully, someday we get the original Game Boy Color Shanty on Steam. But yeah, it seems like people are liking this. Rushed and full of bugs, someone's saying. Seems like it's not 100%. It is very positive with 123. The Rogue Prince of Persia has finally come out of early access. So this is the Prince of Persia game, action roguelite from the developers of Dead Cells, right? Which I have to double check myself because there's so many other studios that have the developers of Dead Cells, but they're not the actual studio of Dead Cells. But this, I believe Evil Empire is the current developer of Dead Cells, which it is. Let's see what people are saying about the 1.0 release. Slick animation, good gameplay, consistent rewarding progression. Evil Empire's proved that the Prince of Persia has a place in the roguelike genre. Soundtrack is fire too. Currently a bit mixed about the game, would overall recommend it, but wait for a sale if you're on the fence. 1.0 released today, finally adding the last act of the game and an ending to the story. As a huge Dead Cells fan, I bought this in early access and didn't play much, but I'm now... I'm now disappointed that with 10 hours total in the game, I already have the true ending to the story with what feels like a lackluster amount of content in the game. The 1.0 release is also quite buggy. My health bar is all over the place with random values. As opposed to Dead Cells and many other roguelikes, I feel a lot less incentive to keep playing due to how the story and gameplay loop is approached. Movement feels overall good most of the time, but bosses are incredibly easy and combat doesn't feel great. I have this game sitting at a 7 out of 10 right now, where I think it's a reasonable considering the low amount of content and buggy state, especially at a similar price tag as Hades 1 to 2. I find it hard to recommend this overall, as there are better games in the genre. Yeah, so the way that people are describing this, it kind of sounds like a Hades game where it's like a roguelike game with an ending, which actually makes me more interested to play this. Considering I own this game, I could play this if I ever stop playing Switch 2 games. Also, Tony, speaking of releases, Kirby and the Forgotten Land DLC comes out tomorrow, and I'm so excited. You know how much I fucking love that game, and more Kirby tomorrow. I can't wait.
Yeah, more Kirby's good. Yeah.
But yeah, let's move on to Steam news. So this is what I was going to mention, Tony. They've updated the review scores based on language. So the review score for some games is now language specific. So when you look at reviews on Steam, the recent reviews and the overall reviews won't be the overall views globally. They'll be the overall reviews for your language. So every game I've been looking at has been giving me the reviews in English. So
Can you change that to be global?
No, I think it is only in your Steam language. I don't think there's a way to toggle it.
Okay.
Now,
I feel like there just should be a way to toggle it, or at least to see it linked to it or something.
So Ninja Gaiden Raid Bound says overall. So I think you have to hit a certain threshold. So there has to be a certain amount of people who reviewed it in your language, and then it switches to English reviews. But if there's not enough if there's not enough reviews in your language, it goes to the overall review.
I would still, I don't know. I personally don't see why I would want to only see one language.
Let's have a look. Let's find a game. So like this game has over 1,000 reviews. That's overall. I swear that I saw one that said English on it. Let's see if I can find one. I think it said like, yeah, here we go. The Bazaar. English reviews. There is 2,000 reviews just in English.
Right.
Which is interesting. But basically, the reason they've done this is probably because they found that certain countries will give. They were saying like different cultures have different ideas of what is acceptable, and so like for example, Tony, somebody made like a list of every game on Steam rated by different countries, and for example, Japan's review scores are way lower than every other country's because they just seem to rate games more harshly than most countries. For example, another example would be like if you were playing a game that China was review bombing, you wouldn't be able to see that anymore because it would only show you reviews in English.
I don't have a problem with this as a default. I just would like to see like next to it, like have the default show like your language, and then next to it like, oh, but this is also the global score as well, or at least have a way to click it just to see it. I don't know. So I agree with the sentiment.
So your game needs at least 2,000 reviews publicly visible and at least 200 reviews written in at least one language for it to turn into a language-specific review score.
Sure.
But yeah, so you would be opposed to this being the default with no way to change back if you would like to.
I think I'd have a problem with default if you could just quickly toggle or just quickly see in some other like obscure way. Like I just want it to be visible in some way. Like,
so I think if you can,
I agree with.
I think so. If you want to dig deeper into what's going on, you can click the C language breakdown link to see a more detailed view by language and what review score those customers will see. So I don't think there's a way to set it to do all reviews by default, but you can click a button and then it will change it to be like, okay, here's what this country was reviewing it. Here's what this country was reviewing it, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting, right? They also changed the store page, right? So you can now have wider store pages, and there's video support
Oh,
for
that's
GIFs.
huge.
Yeah,
Oh
you
my
can
God.
get Big Chungus
That's
on
actually
Steam
huge.
now.
Big Chungus. Wait, we can fit Big
We're
Chungus on
finally
Steam?
wide
Oh my
enough to
God.
have Big Chungus on Steam now.
Is Big Chungus 2 going to be supported? Wait,
Yeah.
can we go back to your previous question of what we can hide? Big Chungus 2?
Exactly. I think
I want that to come out.
the reason they want to like be able to change the assets around is so you can see it easier on like mobile phones and the Steam Deck. Like the Steam Deck is a very like wide screen, right? So they want to be able to accommodate that extra space. But the thing I think is awesome is they are a lot of pages will have like GIFs of what's going on in the game as like short little clips.
Yeah. Yep.
But GIFs are like an awful way to store information because they're slow and they're huge in file size. So they now have the ability to upload like WebMs or MP4s as like an alternative.
Yeah.
So if you want to
just 10 years or 15 years behind, but yeah, that's good.
So yeah, you can upload a animated asset to the page now, but it has to have a maximum duration of 12 seconds. It has to be under 100 megabytes, and you can upload any asset of any dimension you want, but it'll get resized down to a maximum of, what is that? Is that 8K resolution? 4096 times 8192.
Yeah, I don't remember.
And as they did with all the old videos, they've recoded all of the old images to be more efficient on the. So all the old GIFs now have been recoded.
WebMs.
Yeah, they're probably like WebMs or something like that, right? I don't think it specifically says what they've been recoded as. And then there was a Steam client beta, Tony, in July, which now allows you to customize how your games are sorted in your Steam library. So if you have like, let's say, for example, let's take the Mafia games. Let's say like Mafia 2. Let's say the games are like Mafia 1, Mafia 2, Mafia 3, and Mafia the old country Mafia, and you would like that game appeared at number 1 at the list. You could like change it to be sorted so that was just called Mafia 4, and it would appear like below, like all sorted together sort of thing. So that's really awesome.
Right.
And there's also like a custom tab now specifically for setting custom artwork for the game, for the banner and stuff like that. They're just making it all into one thing a lot easier. So that's really cool to see.
Yeah.
Let's move on to Nintendo news. We have Chibi Roboto is now available on the GameCube emulator for Nintendo Switch Online members. This was like a really fucking weird GameCube game, but I've heard like people love this game. Like it's very highly reviewed. Like I'm interested to try this game out. Like you're essentially just like a little robot that's helping this family do tasks on like a sort of like a timer. It almost reminds me of like Katamari Damacy, you know, sort of like that weird Japanese family dynamic thing going on, right? But I feel like there's a lot of like GameCube games I missed because I never owned one. But there's these like really, the GameCube era at Nintendo, they were just trying lots of weird shit and just seeing what sticked, right? So that's awesome. And this came out on August 21st. This is available for all NSO people on the emulator. And then we have, the Kirby Air Riders had its own unique direct that was announced like a day before it went up on the 19th of August. And we got to see Sakurai talk for 45 minutes about Kirby Air Riders. And I got to be honest, I could have listened to this man talk for hours. I don't know if you know much about Sakurai, but he is known as the original creator of Kirby. He worked on the new Smash Brothers games. And he also is a developer who operates and runs his own YouTube channel where he just talks about game design, and it's really great to watch. I've also got some images of some Sakurai memes here where I just thought were hilarious. Like we got a quote here from him: "Why is making a game so hard?" You might be asking yourself, is it basically Mario Kart? To which he says, okay, it's basically Mario Kart. And also, he was talking about how the previous game used a single button for everything. but this time we've added a second button, unfortunately. They've had to add a second button, which is change the complexity of the game.
But he doubled the complexity. You hate to hear that.
So people were like speculating that Sakurai was like, this is a passion project for me. I love Kirby Air Rider from the original GameCube, and I want to make this. And Sakurai came on and said, no, like, basically the head of software at Nintendo and the head of HAL Labs president personally asked Sakurai to make it because this game apparently is really popular in Japan for some reason. Like, it's super popular in Japan, but like doesn't have like the global reach that it has there. But he said basically they asked him to do it like ages ago, like Switch 1 time, and he was like, I can't do it because I'm still working on the DLC for Smash Brothers. But the developer of this is Sora, which is Sakurai Studio and Bandai Namco, and this is the same team that basically worked on Smash Brothers. And it's like the way this game looks, it looks exactly like Smash Brothers, basically, like in terms of visual design, I would say. It is, it's coming out on the 20th of November. So we can find some footage of it. It's coming out on the 20th of November, so it's coming out towards the end of the year. It's going to be Donkey Kong priced. I was a little, like, I saw the whole direct, and then they announced the price, and I saw the direct, and I was like, okay, this actually differentiates itself from Mario Kart and seems like an interesting racing game I would want to play. And then they were like, it's going to cost £59, and I'm like, ooh, that's a lot of money for a Kirby racing game. Like that's not as expensive as Mario Kart World outside the bundle, but that is as expensive as Donkey Kong Bonanza. And I don't think I could compare this game favorably to Donkey Kong Bonanza. Donkey Kong Bonanza seems like so much more game than this, in my opinion. I feel like this would have done better as like a 40 to 50 pound game. That feels more fair to me.
I think 50 you could justify for sure. But maybe 2, but yeah.
They I'll get the direct up so I can show footage. I'll just find some footage. Why not? But yeah, they announced that there was going to be 6 players for race mode. So race mode is like your standard racing. There was originally one button. You would go around. You would press a button which would stop you moving, but and would slow you down. But then it would allow you to turn very steeply. Basically, it's drifting, right? But the thing I found really cool about this one was each individual kart had its own like unique style to it. Like not in terms, like in Mario Kart, you have a different kart has slightly different stats. The karts on this game were like some made you control the game completely differently. Okay. Ones are like better at flying, some were better at like attacking people. But then it was like this one actually makes you stop fully and then you change direction and shoot off, and it like they had completely different play styles from each other, and the actual characters also controlled completely differently. So I was like, Sakurai's taken like a very simple game and has added like a lot of depth to it in terms of like customization, it seems like, which I thought was really cool. Because it's like Kirby is well balanced and has no clear weaknesses, but King DDD is heavyweight and can dish out blows with his hammer. But then you have like Starman, who excels in the air, or you have like Gooey, who can attack enemies with his tongue. Oh, this is the Swerve Star, where you ride it forward, you stop it suddenly, and then you ride again. Like it completely changes up how you play.
That seems very interesting.
And as you're going along, like Kirby can suck up like enemies and then shoot them out as stars to attack people. It can suck up like power-ups to use boosts or attacks, right? But then they were like, we can't just have Kirby be the only person who can do this. So every racer has their own like unique animation. So not only is there unique karts with unique abilities, there's unique racers all with unique animations. And it's just like, okay, they did put a fuck ton of work into this game. Like there's a lot of like customization and depth to this. And then there's also the mode from the called City Trials, which I believe people were really excited to see if it came back, and it has been confirmed to come back. But it's basically City Trials is this game mode where you all start on like a basic cart, and you basically in like this almost like this battle royale area where you're just basically all dashing around to pick up power-ups, and the power-ups change the stats of your car. And then you have 4 Colosseums after 5 minutes, and then you have to choose which race you want to be in, and you choose the race based on the stats you picked up in your cart. So it's like there might be a race that is like who can fly the furthest, and you're like, okay, my cart is a flying cart, and I picked up the flying power-up, so I'm going to take that one. Or like you might have a cart that's better for battling, and you'll battle. But like the actual like battle arena where you're driving around for 5 minutes actually looked really interesting. There was different events going on where you could have meteors come down, and there'd be an event where you'd all have a battle in between, and the winner of the battle would get more stats for their car. And he was saying it wasn't always the best to take like just max speed or whatever, because like if you took max speed on your cart, then it would make it like almost impossible to maneuver your cart around to pick up more power-ups that you would want from the city trial. 5 minutes seems like a lot of time, though. I was like, how many times am I going to want to play this city trial one? Because they did say on the online mode, if you're playing online, you can play up to 16 people in one city trial, which was pretty cool. The thing I was thinking of, like the big reason I was interested in Mario Kart World was the open world stuff, the like single player stuff, and then it was Knockout Tour Online that kept me going for a bit. But I'm like, I would love to be able to like explore like the city trials mode, but it seems like it's not going to do like the weird Mario Kart World open world stuff. It is more just for the city trial game mode sort of thing. Or you can see some of the different modes here, like the target flight or like a drag race if you have like insane top speed and stuff like that. And you pick from like these 4 stadiums, and then if nobody... And it basically, it's not like a vote of which one do you all go to. You go to that stadium, and anyone else who picked that stadium faces against you. And if you are the only person who picked the stadium, Kirby gets off his cart, does a dance, and it's like, well, you win by default. Nobody else picked the stadium, which I thought was pretty funny. That they had like a unique animation for you being the only person in a stadium. But then I think after the fact, they're like, hey, we still want you to play the game. So you just race against bots if you're playing online and nobody else picked the stadium, right?
Okay.
Even though you won by default. But yeah, I'm more sold on this game after watching the direct on it, because I think it looks really cool now. But I don't know if I am £59 sold on this game.
Yeah,
I'm like so torn.
50.
Yeah, I almost pre-ordered this, and I'm like, wait a minute. I do really want to play this, but it is very expensive.
Yeah.
But it looks really cool. I will admit, it looks really good. I think it's running like 1440p, 60 FPS. Probably was a cross-platform type from the Switch One. Looks really good. I just don't know if I'm... Because I got like 60 hours of gameplay out of Mario Kart World, and that was mostly like the single-player story mission stuff. Whereas I don't think I'm going to get that much worth out of just playing like this city trial stuff online, or like doing just the single-player race sort of stuff. We'll have to wait and see. Then we have the Gamescom stuff, Tony. One of the actually some of the most interesting stuff from Gamescom to me was the TV announcements. I wasn't actually that super interested in the video game stuff. They did announce Pac-Man is coming to the new Sonic Racing game, and they also showed off a trailer for new season 2 of Fallout, which is tying into the TV stuff I thought was cool. I'm excited to watch season 2 of Fallout. I think it looks pretty, especially when it's New Vegas stuff as well. But one of the really cool things, I don't know if you saw this, Tony, they announced that they're doing a Sekiro anime, which I was just like, what the hell?
Interesting.
My game of the year, 2023, I think it was that I played it. I was like, is getting and also I think it has like an awesome story, and people consider it to be one of the best From Software stories. Seeing this just makes me go, oh, I wish they made a DLC for fucking Sekiro, because I
Yeah.
want more Sekiro, but seeing it like animated and stuff is pretty cool. I'm a little bit torn on the animation because like I wasn't like the studio I looked up, I was like, what sort of stuff does this studio do? And like clicking on their website, they were talking about like blockchain technology, and I'm like, have they AI generated some of this stuff? But apparently all of the scenes are hand drawn, allegedly. So I mean, oh, and it's coming to Crunchyroll as well, so I'll watch it there. So I'll probably end up just watching on Crunchyroll anyway, but I'm not. I think it's really. I think like a Sekiro anime is really cool, but I don't know. I wish like it was being done by one of the like a Mappa or a Wit Studio or get Trigger to do that, or just like one of the bigger like action studios, get them to make something like this. But like,
Yeah.
I don't know much about this, and I'm not 100% sold on the visuals. But I'm still excited for this, even if it is an Uzumaki, Speaking of games, Tony, did you see the Lego Batman game that they've announced? It is essentially like the Will Arnett Lego Batman humor, but like the actual gameplay of like the Arkham City games, which I think looks really cool.
Yeah, I only heard, but yeah.
It seems like they got, based on the trailer, it seems like they got Matt Berry to play Bane, which I'm all for because I fucking love Matt Berry. But yeah, the gameplay looked a little weird. It looked very much like more cinematic-y, and I wasn't 100% because it's like the Lego games are very simple. They're just very much more so you walk up to somebody, you punch them, and they turn to a billion blocks, right? But this was kind of trying to blend that like Arkham Shadow of Mordor style combat with the Lego stuff, and I'm not sure how that's going to work out. But I think if they can pull it off, it will be interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks good to me, but I definitely want to try it for sure.
Yeah,
I think it could definitely work for sure.
Oh, this Unbeatable game. There was a trailer for it. I think I potentially have seen this before. Another like game award show or like Steam Next Fest or something. I haven't played it, but I think this game looks really cool. It's like a rhythm game, but with a heavy emphasis on like this animated story that looks really, really cool. I don't know if you've seen this at all, but yeah, I think like visually it looks really interesting.
I'm sort of very confused what I'm seeing.
I think it's like this story about like rebellion through like music and art and stuff like that, right? And then
Sure.
Gameplay rhythm wise, that's pretty cool. And then Valor Mortis is a brand new colonial era gothic horror game from the creators of Ghost Runner. Just when Expedition 33 came out, just when I thought I was safe from the French, we have more French people in video games. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's almost like a first-person Souls-like combat, which is going to be interesting. I really liked the first Ghost Runner game, and then the second game I played, and although the first game didn't run perfectly, but I felt like the second game also didn't run the best, but was also like had an issue where it didn't feel as tight knit as the first game. Is finding myself like if I remember correctly, when I played the demo for the second game, I was like, after completing the first game, I was like, I keep constantly finding myself not being able to find the final enemy I'm supposed to kill. Like I feel like I'm constantly lost in the battle arenas. But I did enjoy the first Ghost Runner game, so it's interesting to see like they've taken that cyberpunk sci-fi stuff and they've gone, no, let's do something completely different in a different style, right? But I think again, like visually, that game Ghost Runner was really cool, and I think visually this game looks really cool as well. And I fuck with the aesthetics,
Yeah.
But that is the end of the podcast, Tony. You can check us out, youtube.com at Everything In Between Podcast, twitch.tv/Scorn if you want to watch live, and shows.cast.com/everything-in-between-podcast. If you want to listen to the audio-only versions, there'll be links to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You'll be able to download the MP3 if you want to listen to it. And we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.